In the beginning of this year, I was approached by Churchill Sports representatives to create music. When we talk about the music, there are certain elements that are in the basis of it. It is melody and harmony. So the challenge for me was to translate the harmony of the vineyard to music. I was fascinated by this idea of connecting together the things that I like the most. Since the beginning of this year, I was going to Quinta de Gricha to get my inspiration looking at the vines on the lines. If we look at music score, we'll see that it is divided into sections. At the top we have wind instruments, then we have piano, then we have string instruments, violins, violas and cellos. I looked at the vineyard and realized that it is also divided into sections. Here in Portugal they call it talhões. And I created an equation between this talhões and music score. And that became a basis for this composition. Each section corresponds to a talhão in the vineyard. I took the position of the grapes in the vineyards and transcribed it into music. For example, this top section of wind instruments represents talhão number 3 for me. And Quinta de Gricha is such a spiritual place. You have plenty of air and distances and beautiful, beautiful landscapes that almost immediately you get into this creative mood and music just starts flowing like a wine. Both in winemaking and in music, the final result depends on a man plus the participation of the nature, and everything is brought together by divine inspiration, sometimes by chance as well, at least in music.
So Marina, I was thinking maybe where the piano comes in here, what you've designated talhão 3, yes, talhão 3, to bring up the sound a little bit and then bring in the piano with some force. What do you think of that?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And you see there is a lot of correspondence between rhythmical pattern between piano and violas.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, the violas shadow what the piano is doing.
Yeah, it has to be synchronized very well.
Okay, well the violins keep the ostinato and the cellos too.
The musicians that are interpreting the Sinfonia Vignette da Gricha are the orchestral musicians from the Orchestra do Porto, and we collaborated in many occasions before. So it was a very tight group working on it, and they came along and we had quite a few rehearsals, worked on the score, worked on the levels of sound. They also went to Quinta de Gricha together with us. We had a rehearsal there because we wanted to catch the whole ambient, to bring it as close as we can to recreate the whole atmosphere. And then we recorded it. I was thinking about the difficult parts of this particular project. Pretty much straight in the beginning had this vision, because let's face it, it was such a strong image, being there in Quinta de Gricha and just observing the whole environment had such an impact that practically from the very beginning it became clear to me what to do. Musical literature is filled with the most amazing examples of composers translating the sounds of nature into music. I'm thinking of Vivaldi Four Seasons, for example. It is filled with little imitations of all sorts of events happening, including the dog barking. I've noticed one thing, in composition very, very often we start kind of channeling some sort of cosmic energy once we free our mind, when we don't have worries, when we have plenty of free space, free breathing space. So once we establish this connection, it just starts flowing very naturally. And what can help us better than a glass of very nice wine?
When we just talk about, in the wine business, when we are here, we talk about terroir, minerality, tannins, balance. And I took the word balance, and balance brings me to harmony. And with harmony, because you find it in the wines, I came to the music because I love music. I had the pleasure of meeting you, of knowing you, and I brought wine, because at the end it's all about feelings, it's emotions, and yes, definitely it's harmony, and that's the harmony that we find in the wines from Quinta da Gricha that I wanted to bring to something like the music that you really did, and it's amazing.
Oh,
yeah,
thank you so much.
Well done, Marina.
Thank you so much.
Well, and well done for the musicians.
We did our best.
Yeah, and you did it really, really very, very well. And it's not an easy music, I have to say.
No, it has to be precise, and everybody has to know what they're doing. It's not something you leave to chance. It has to be very well organized. Yes.
And I think we were very lucky of having this opportunity, rehearsing Quinta da Gricha for the musicians themselves to sense this relationship between what they're doing.
No, it was a fantastic experience, and I think everybody was inspired by the surroundings and this business of nature communing with humanity and producing something from that. It's evident that not just in the music, but obviously in the wines that are being produced in the Quinta da Gricha, all this in a way enhanced our performance, our contribution. Speaking for the musicians, of course, and of course your music is I'm very privileged to have played it, to interpret it. Yeah.
What else enhanced the musician's capacity to perform was, of course, wine itself.
The wine itself.
Because there was plenty of it, and we had a great time.
Yes, it was in abundance, and I think we were all very receptive.
In every level, yeah.
On every level, yes.
It was quite an experience, a real like joining together of all the elements. Like we're here, three of us. Emilia represents Churchill's, David represents the musicians. I created the score, so it all comes together pretty.
And we did a great job. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We did a great job.